what's going on? Dr. Gonzo Boogie here again, back for another horror Blu-ray, DVD, and VHS update. I have some really cool stuff to show you guys here, and I don't want to waste any time, so I'm just going to get going. First off, I'll start off with the stack of Blu-rays I have, and the first couple things I have here I've showed in other videos, but I have yet to show them in one of my update videos, so I'm just going to show them really quickly. First off is the 10-disc Halloween Bluray Box Set that was put out by Anchor Bay and Scream Factory. Actually, my mom bought this for me as a random gift, and I was very happy when I got home with it. And although this isn't quite as cool as the 15-disc Mega Box Set where they all come in separate cases, I'm still really happy to have this one. And if you want to see me do a little bit more in-depth of a review on this, I dedicated a whole video to this box set. I'll put the link in the description below if you want to check that out. And in that video, I show how it's put together, and I show what the inside of the box set looks like and everything. And again, it's just a really nice box set. It comes with all of the Halloween movies, including the 2 Rob Zombie ones on Blu-ray. So getting this for a gift was a really nice thing. So again, really happy that I have this one right here. Then next up here is the Scream Factory Blu-ray release of Day of the Dead, and I showed this in my Scream Factory video, but I know some of my subscribers just watched my update video, so I figured, of course, I would show it again in this video. And George Romero's original zombie trilogy are some of my favorite horror movies ever. Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, I would actually probably say are my 2 favorite horror movies ever. So I was really glad to pick this one up, and I definitely want to try to get the Anchor Bay release of Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray. It's kind of hard to find now, and it's out of print, so it's a little bit pricey, but it's not too bad. And I'm waiting for a really awesome edition of Night of the Living Dead on Blu-ray. Eventually, I know they got to put one out. But really awesome here, great horror movie, great Scream Factory release. Alright, next up, I haven't showed any of this stuff in my other videos, so this is new for you guys. And right here is another Scream Factory release. And the only other one I have to show in this video, and it's Lord of Illusions from Clive Barker. This comes with the director's cut and the theatrical cut, and I had never seen this movie before, and I actually watched this last night. And this movie was really awesome. It's got the normal Clive Barker weirdness to it, and I just thought it was a really good, well done movie. There's a quote on the back here from Quentin Tarantino. It's creepy to the extreme. No other filmmaker gets under your skin the way Clive Barker does. And Tarantino knows his films, and this is just a really, really cool movie. I would highly recommend this for anyone who hasn't seen it. Clive Barker's Lord of Illusions. Alright, next up I just have a small stack of some Blu-rays here that aren't Scream Factories. First off here is John Carpenter's The Thing. This is one of my favorite science fiction movies ever, sci-fi horror movies, and it's also probably my favorite John Carpenter movie. Really close tie with Halloween. I love both of these movies, but I actually find myself watching John Carpenter's The Thing like 3 or 4 times a year. Just one of my favorite movies to watch. And the Blu-ray, high definition transfer on this was really good. A lot better than the older Universal DVDs, so I'm really glad to pick this one up. And again, just if you have never seen this movie, one of the best sci-fi horror movies ever made. Definitely one of John Carpenter's best right here. Alright, next up is another sci-fi horror movie from one of my favorite directors. And this is David Cronenberg's The Fly. I figured I would pick this one up on Blu-ray because they had it at FYE brand new for like $6.99. Really cheap on this, so I was like, why not? I'll just pick it up. I actually haven't watched this yet. So, I've seen this movie a dozen times, but I haven't watched the Blu-ray of this yet. But I'm guessing the transfer on this is probably really nice. Glad that they just stuck with the original posters for the cover on this one, for the covers on these two, because I also picked up the American Werewolf in London Blu-ray Steelbook. Picked this one up at Target for $10. And I love this movie. American Werewolf in London is one of my favorite horror movies ever. I would definitely put it in my top 5 horror movies ever made, and it's actually one of my favorite movies ever. I just love American Werewolf in London. I think it's John Landis' best movie, and just one of my favorite movies of all time. But I have some complaints about this. I actually have not watched this. I'm waiting for a little bit closer to Halloween time for the pop this one in, because this is a movie that I always watch around the fall time, always watch it around Halloween time. But I have to admit, I absolutely hate the cover design on this. If I was to make a video of the worst DVD, Blu-ray covers of this year, or just worst Blu-ray DVD covers ever, this would be in the top. I don't even understand what the graphic designer was thinking when he came up with this. Like, this is just a boring design. Just completely does not remind me of the movie at all. Like, what is up with the red circle? I mean, this is a movie I've seen, like, I wouldn't say hundreds of times, but I've seen this movie a lot. And I do not remember a red circle in this movie at all. And the blue hand thing, it's like, that's really the most iconic thing you can come up with from the movie, is the hand transformation scene, even though it's a really cool werewolf effect. And American Werewolf in London, in my opinion, has the best werewolf transformation scene in any movie ever made. And that does not stick out as like one of the most iconic images from the movie. So do not get why they picked that for the cover on this one. And again, just I don't like this cover art at all. Would have benefited this so much if they just slapped the movie poster on the cover, which they had never done with an American Werewolf in London DVD release. They always got to mess with the cover some way. And I've seen some of the other steel books they have at Target, like the Blues Brothers one, which is also a John Landis film, and it also suffers from the same problem. Just horrible, horrible artwork. I mean, I took 3 years of graphic design classes, and my teacher would probably fail me if I handed this in as a homework assignment. It's just a very typical, boring, unimaginative cover, and for a movie that is so good like American Werewolf in London, I really think it deserves more than this. And not only is that, it's a very cheap release. There's actually no information on the actual steelbook itself. It's printed on this little sheet of paper, which can easily get ruined or damaged. So it's like, now I have to take like care of this just so I have the information on the back. So it's just, now I have to like baby this DVD whenever I touch it, just so I make sure I don't ruin the back of it. So, you know, I picked this up because I love the movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, but it really deserves a better Blu-ray release than this. Just, you know, very bare bones design on the cover, and the inside too, just, that's all you get. Just plain blue-gray tone with a disc with no artwork on it. Just, you know, I really feel like, I mean, $10 was not a bad price on this, which is what I paid for, but still, I expect a little bit better for the artwork. So that was my little rant on what I consider to be one of the worst DVD Blu-ray packaging designs I've ever seen in my life. But that's all I have to say about that. All right, next up I have some DVDs here. And first off, this is another steelbook here. And this I was extremely happy to find, because this is a Anchor Bay box set that is kind of hard to find now and goes for a lot of money. The cheapest I saw this going for on eBay was $50, and I picked this up at FYE used for $15.99, and the discs are in mint condition. And this is the Dario Argento box set from Anchor Bay. And this comes with 5 of his movies, 5 films by Dario Argento, and this actually comes with 2 of my favorite Argento films, Phenomena and Tenebrae, which I just love those 2 movies. Phenomena is actually probably my favorite Argento movie, but it's a hard call because he's made so many great horror movies, but that one has always really stuck out to me. But Tenebrae too, I also really love that. I've said in most of my videos, that has one of the best gore scenes I've ever seen in any horror movie ever. So that movie is 100% worth checking out if you're a horror fan, definitely a gore fan. And but this also comes with 3 Argento movies that I didn't have, so that was actually the main reason I picked this one up. It comes with Trauma, The Card Player, and Do You Like Hitchcock? Which there it is on the back, all the separate covers for these. And those 3 I've never seen, and I don't own them on DVD yet. I've always wanted to pick those ones up, but I've never, you know, since they're a little bit pricey, I've never gone on my way to get them. So to get all these movies in one set for $15.99, I thought was a awesome deal. I'll show you guys the inside of this really quickly. There's that part. You get those 4 discs right there, and then you get the Do you like Hitchcock one right at the end there? It's really cool. I'm actually really looking forward to checking some of these movies out. Probably going to go through and watch this whole set this week, try to get them all in, because I'm actually hoping that the transfers on the Phenomenon and Tenebrae are actually better than my other editions, because I actually had the late 90s Anchor Bay DVDs of both of those, and I know these are the later releases with the different cover art, so I'm actually hoping the transfers on these two are better than the transfers on my old DVDs, which the transfer on my old DVDs aren't that bad, but I'm just hoping that these might be a little bit better. So I'm going to have to check those out just to see. Really cool cover design on this too, and this I actually don't have too many steel books, along with the American Werewolf in London Blu-ray. This is actually the third steel book I have in my collection, so glad to get a couple more of those, because they are pretty cool. Alright, next up for the DVDs, I picked up another Roger Corman cult classic release. This is Humanoids from the Deep. And this was a really fun, cheesy sci-fi horror movie. It has these, alien, well, not alien, but these swamp monster guys. Kind of like Creature from the Black Lagoon thing going on here. And they just, they go around killing people. One of the funniest parts about this is they actually have sex with like the women in the movie, and there's like a twist at the end where like one of the girls got like raped by one of the monsters, like gives birth to like a weird alien baby. Spoiler alert, but this movie is how old now. But anyways, I thought this was a lot of fun, and happy to add this to my Roger Corman Cult Classic series. I actually have 7 of these Roger Corman Cult Classic releases, and these are from Shout Factory. And I hope to buy them all one day. I love Roger Corman, one of my favorite movie producers, one of my favorite directors of all time. So one of these days in the near future, I was thinking of doing a Roger Corman video where I talk about all my Roger Corman DVDs and everything. So Humanoids from the Deep, and this is cool. It actually comes with the the director's cut or the extended cut of this movie, which is pretty cool. So cool. I think this is the first time you're able to get like the extended director's cut of this on DVD. Right, next up here is the I Know What You Did Last Summer trilogy. I picked this one up because I actually just finished watching the Scream series a couple weeks ago. I actually had a blast watching it. I hadn't seen those movies since around the time they came out, and I had never seen the sequels really good. And I was really surprised at how much I liked the Scream movies. I had a lot of fun watching those. So I picked up this because I wanted to see the first one because it was written by Kevin Williamson, who wrote most of the Scream movies. So I figured, why not check it out? And I actually thought the first one in the series was really good. I might have rented this one back in the day when I was a lot younger, but I can't remember. But I had definitely seen this before, either reviews or I'd seen parts of this on TV. But I thought it was really, really good for a 90s slasher movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I thought it had a somewhat unique, interesting story to it. And the killer I thought was pretty cool. The fisherman guy with the hook hand. I think that's a pretty cool looking serial killer. The sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I thought that was a pretty good sequel too. I mean, for horror movie sequels, you can't expect that much from them. And I thought it did a pretty good job sequelizing the movie. It had a few of the same actors from the first one in it, and the best part of that one is it had Jeffrey Combs in it, who you may know from Reanimator and a bunch of other great horror movies. One of the best horror movie character actors around. And it also had Jack Black in this from Tenacious D and a bunch of other stuff. Jack Black is the man, and his death scene in this is one of the funniest death scenes I've ever seen in any movie. I was literally cracking up by it. It was really funny, and Jack Black is a funny guy, and basically all the scenes with him in this movie are hilarious, like actually funny. Like I was actually laughing, and I don't laugh too much when I watch horror movies, so I thought that was really cool. Jack Black did a really fun job getting killed in this movie. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but his death scene is worth watching this movie alone. And then I also watched I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, which was a shitty straight-to-video sequel to the first 2 movies. It didn't have any of the actors returning from the other 2, and it kind of had like its own story. But for shitty horror sequels. I thought it was decent. I had a pretty good time watching it, and you know, I thought it was kind of fun. So I would actually definitely recommend the I Know What You Did Last Summer series. I thought that this was pretty good horror trilogy right here. Alright, then last for the DVDs, and this is the only non-horror thing I have in this video. This is Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. This is actually the fourth in the Planet of the Apes series, and I had the first three, and I found this at a thrift store for a couple bucks, so I was glad to get the fourth one in the series. Now the only one I'm missing is the fifth in the Planet of the Apes series, which I can't remember the name of that one right now. But this has actually always been one of my favorite out of all the Planet of the Apes sequels. It has just a very strong political tone to this movie, and I think it gives this movie a different vibe than the other ones. And I would highly recommend this one for anybody who likes the first one and is a little iffy about checking out the sequels. This is actually a really, really good sequel to the Planet of the Apes movies. One of the best. Really good stuff here. Alright, and then last for this video, I have one VHS tape to show you guys. And I actually haven't been picking up VHS tapes as much anymore. Just now that I've been collecting Blu-rays, there's just so much other stuff to buy. But I do check out thrift stores every week and look around what they have. But I'm a little bit more picky now on when I buy a tape because I have, you know, a whole box of tapes sitting in my closet that I don't even watch or care about. So it's like I'm very iffy when I pick up a tape now. I try to make sure it's something that I know that I actually want. And this time around, I found this at a Savers, and this is Suspiria, one of Dario Argento's best movies. This is a really cool VHS tape of this movie. I had never seen this one before. It's got kind of like a gold font there. And just really cool here. Glad to have picked this one up to add to my horror tape collection. And this is really cool. I like the cover art on this and everything else. And, you know, I'm hoping this tape will work. I'll actually probably check it out one day. Every once in a while, I like to plug in the VHS player, kind of nostalgia reasons, and, you know, just watch a good chunk of movies on tape. So I'll have to check this one out and see how the transfer is on everything, and everything. So, alright, that was the update for this time around, and it was a good month since my last update. But since I've been collecting the Blu-rays, it's just been a little bit pricier on the stuff that I've been picking up. So for me to accumulate a good amount of stuff for video, it's just been taking me a little bit longer than it used to. But, you know, I should have another update up sometime next month, and I should have a couple other random videos. I try to post at least a video up every week. So one of my next videos might even be me talking about my Roger Corman collection. But again, thank you guys for watching the video. I always appreciate the views and the thumbs ups and the comments, so definitely leave some of those if you want, and I'll see you guys next time.